That's why. And we are live. Welcome everybody to another episode of You Know What? Let me just say podcast. I am your host Ray. With me, as always, we have Dion.
What is going on?
We have D Wolf.
Greetings.
We have Crystal.
Hola.
And in about less than an hour and a half, we have the birthday boy, Xavier.
And the birthday girl.
And
Hello.
if she's here, tell her to. Also, happy birthday, B. On Material Life. How's
Oh
everybody doing?
wait, I thought it was Crystalina. Oh shit, I thought it was Crystalina. It is Material Life. You are absolutely right.
Trust me, I know my Tauruses.
What's up?
I was wondering why she didn't say nothing like yeah. That's no.
How's everybody doing?
I'm good.
Back in the blunt.
Good as
Okay.
always.
Okay. Before we get, I do want to ask y'all, did those that seen the She-Hulk trailer, did that look a little rough to y'all?
It it was a disappointment, man. I love She-Hulk, and
I'm
that
I'm more interested in the final product. I just want the series to drop so we can see the final product.
I was like, I'm like, I'm not even getting. That's that after this, I was like, okay, Disney, I'm not even letting nostalgia give you a chance here. I'm not even gonna bother. I'm not gonna
It,
bother.
it,
I've seen where they're going with this shit, so I'm done. I'm not letting them mess me up anymore. I'm done.
I mean, She-Hulk getting something within the MCU was long over fucking due. So
I just thought she looked rough. It's just like
See,
it's
I'm willing
weird
to let that
because
slide.
it's weird because the Hulk, he doesn't look bad. He doesn't look bad at all. But I'm looking at She-Hulk and it's just like, why does she look so rough? And like
Right.
the whole meme of putting her on put Fiona's face on She-Hulk, I laughed at that too. But but I
And
even joked that even looked better than what they was giving us. I don't know.
And the thing is,
that's
like, I would even
that's
let
fucked
that
up.
slide, but like, what's Disney's excuse? It better not be. I hope they're still working on it, but at the same time, I'm like, you're Disney. Stop. This ain't CW. That's what I would expect from the CW, right? So I let it
Um,
slide. I
shots
said, okay,
fired.
what's the trailer about though, yo? The whole thing just messed me up. I was like, I hope I could like we haven't seen it. I haven't seen it the show, so I'm like, I'm wondering if it's gonna be what I know of her, but it doesn't even seem like that. It seems like it's another type of person, and I don't. It's bothering me, yo. I know She-Hulk is a certain character. Like this is not what I. This ain't it. This ain't it, yo. It wasn't a what? What's happening?
I just wonder if it's going to be about her being a superhero or her dating life.
That's the thing, because she's not
Oh,
really
because her
like
dating life is a mess.
she's a lawyer, right? And
She is a
yes,
lawyer.
that
Yeah.
struggle. Like I wanted to see the struggle of being like a Hulk and being trapped. It doesn't seem like she's trapped like that. I hope that's the case. If I find that out from a future trailer, then I might give it a chance. But if I see she's able to switch in between, I'm not gonna bother because I know she's stuck looking like the Hulk, and now she has to maneuver through life, maneuver through her career as a lawyer. That's interesting. Interested me in her character in the first place. Now, if they start switching that up and she gets to switch in between and see and have to choose which one's better and shit like that, and it becomes a whole agenda thing, I'm like, all right, I'm done. Disney, you're done.
What about the character you thought was rough?
When she turned into She-Hulk, it didn't look rendered. Like it didn't look all the way rendered. It looked like it like
Which trailer did you watch? Because I just watched it and it didn't look that
It
bad.
looked pure CG.
it was the
It looked
Certain
CG.
parts of her face,
mocap in
some
between
some
production.
parts of her face did kind of look a little CG,
Man,
but like when she was
It's
looking on the dating app in her
yeah,
phone, the reflection. But
yeah.
like, I don't know, maybe I have to look a little
I
better.
don't know.
But
Maybe it's like because I went to film school, you could see some, and then like editing videos, you could see when stuff is not rendered all the
Mhm.
way, or when stuff just look out of place. And
mm,
you edit enough videos, you kind of see it. Maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
just like I said. Maybe it's just that's just me nitpicking. It's not like a full complaint. It's more or less it's just a very loud nitpick.
Mm.
So just take it as that as someone that studied went to school for film and shit. It's a
Uh-huh.
loud nitpick,
And
which could
I know what you
annoy.
mean because like that's me like with time period movies, and when it comes
Yeah,
to the fashion, I'm like that's wrong.
Yeah.
No, they wouldn't have done that. No, this is kind of wrong. They would have done this. But other people think, oh, the costumes were amazing. But I'm like, I kind of know it a little bit better, so I'm nitpicking. So yeah, I
And
get
yeah, it might
exactly what
look
you
nice,
mean.
but for the time period that this event is supposed to be taking place, it's not accurate.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm like, that's 1953, not 1943. Like, stupidness. But I get it.
The whole
yeah.
me, single 30-year-old depressed woman life. Like I'm getting very weird vibes from the trailer itself. I can't get into just no.
I love that her hair just seems to be so perfect.
Even
Like
what you
that really looks fake because like it just looks so perfect.
Wasn't
even
she blonde?
watch the glass in the trailer, her hair was still
If
styled.
I remember correctly, um, I think she was a brunette at first, but then after the blood transfusion from Bruce Banner, both her skin and her hair turned green.
Mm.
She was never
She was
blonde.
a brunette. She
About
was a brunette.
Yeah,
Oh, at least
yeah, but
the character planner is a brunette. The character planner is a brunette. So
And they
I
made
got.
her. It feels like
I
they
could
made
probably
her
always
ugly.
check.
Like they stepped her down in her looks as a regular human on purpose. I noticed that too, and I'm like, that
I have
wasn't
a problem.
necessary.
I have a huge problem with that,
That wasn't
and it's
necessary.
I'm sorry, but I want my superheroes to look like superheroes. I don't want them to
I
look like
get making
regular
her
people.
look a certain type of attractive when she hulks out. That's fine, right? Because your beauty is gonna. But to lose what you had before, like I'm not a woman, but at least that's something you could like real. You can at least imagine to relate to. Losing what you had already. But it seems like she's gaining from the transformation, and I'm like, that's not compelling as a character.
I mean that was kind of that kind of happened to her in the comics though. Like you got to remember, um, for those who actually know the character, she was like hella timid before she got her powers.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. I'm talking about the looks. I don't remember it being like mm, like they
I
downplayed
just
the looks to make it, you know. But
I just want
we
my
shall see.
superheroes to look like superheroes. I have the same problem when I saw the Miss Marvel trailer, and I'm like, she doesn't really look like a superhero, or you know, like
She's a kid still coming into her fucking powers.
okay,
So
okay. You watch Teen Titans, right? And I know they're probably like adults playing as kids, but they look like superheroes. It's not more or less the looks. It's like the feeling you give of even like Spider-Man, Tom Holland. I know he's like in his mid-20s, but he's playing a teenager. He looks like a superhero. He looked like someone is like, okay, I can see you become the superhero. It's just she just looks average. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Like I had the like Power Rangers. It's like you look at them, you're just like, yeah, they look like they could kick some ass. Miss Marvel don't look like she can kick some ass. That's what I'm. That's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
maybe maybe that's the gem of it. She doesn't look like she can hurt you, but she'll fuck you up. Maybe that's the you know some sometimes that works.
For who?
Huh.
I don't know. I don't know for who. I mean, I don't think Miss Marvel's that heavily liked anyway, or at least this version of Miss Marvel.
It's not
So it's
involved.
exactly.
It's,
So,
they're just shoehorning people for a specific reason.
Shoot.
but that's just me. Father done into the chat. How you doing, Father?
Hello, everybody. I was just listening.
No.
I think that you know what I think they're gonna do though, which I hope for. That'll probably be the only episode I tune into because it happened in the comics. I have a feeling they're gonna throw in Charlie Cox as Daredevil in there because they're working on his show right now. You know, since he popped up. Man, did anyone? I can't even say it.
I know he popped up on. He popped up. You could spoil Spider Man. I still haven't
Okay,
seen the
yeah.
movie, but you
So
could.
he popped up
You
in No Way Home, and they're
yeah.
planning on bringing the show back, but Disneyfied, so it's not going to be as adult as it was on Netflix. But I have a feeling they might throw them in this too because they're both lawyers, and I have a feeling they're going to do like an episode with them together. So if that episode comes up, I'll definitely tune in for that one.
Didn't they date?
Was it? Did they?
I know. I know she got with Wolverine, but Wolverine's a man
Handle
whore. I mean, Wolverine's a man whore. He fucking gets with everybody. So, but that's
that, right? How many wives and ex? Oh my god! Okay, Wolverine.
yeah.
Mm.
So he literally done fucked generations of women. So I'm not even gonna get to that. But that's motherfucker Logan. Okay. All right. On to the topics. I wanted to get this one done quick out the way, just so we can get to the other topics. Gentlemen, I don't know how many of y'all follow wrestling, but one of the bigger stories this week was Sasha Banks and Naomi from WWE done walked out of Monday Night Raw because of, in my opinion, the way they was booked. And for what I've seen, from a lot of people, it got a lot of mixed reviews. There's some people that were standing with them, but there's a lot of people, they kind of, in my opinion, they gave out a lot of shut up and dribble vibes. So, um, what do y'all think about Sasha Banks and Naomi walking out of WWE?
Let me begin. Let me start this. All right. So
Go
listen.
ahead.
Yeah,
So I would just want to point out three very simple things that I think everybody here will agree with me with. Number one, they did every single thing they told them to do when they were doing live shows, didn't they? Didn't they?
Correct.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, we can all acknowledge that the WWE does not do anything with the fucking women's tag team championships. Yes or no?
They don't do anything any of the tag team chat.
You know what I'm saying? So, and my final point is Naomi and Sasha Banks both went to Vince McMahon himself and aired their grievances. They went to the producers and aired their grievances on a consistent basis, right?
Right.
Those are my 3 points. So, since all three are correct, they walked out and it is what it is because they've done everything that they were asked to. They had ideas for the tag team championship because they don't have ideas for the tag team championships because all they face is filler ass tag teams like, bro, Shayna Baszler and Natalia. Come on. I mean, they're cool together, but that's a filler ass tag team. And then Shayna Baszler just got off with Nia Jax. So
I was about to say they keep putting fucking Shayna Baszler and Natalia in random tag teams. It's just
yeah,
like what do we
because they don't have a tag team division. What was it? Zelina and Carmella were champions for like a sneeze. And then,
Yeah.
once you get your bearings together, oh shit, it's WrestleMania. Sasha and Naomi win the championship. You know what I'm saying? And they actually have ideas because both Sasha and Naomi are over as fuck. Everybody loves them. When Naomi comes out, she gets a big ass pop. When Sasha Banks come out, she gets a motherfucking pop. She's one of the biggest merch sellers. So they've done every single thing up to that point. There's nothing that they haven't done to make everything work, but their booking is trash. And now they're supposed to have this 6-pack challenge, and the winner's supposed to. What the fuck did they say? They said it was gonna be a 6-pack challenge, and Sasha and Naomi are like opponents or whatever. And like, what?
Yeah.
And so they aired their grievances. They made it known that they were not with it multiple times. They've done everything that they were asked to do. So the fact that they walked out means that they dropped the ball on their part. If you ask me, that's what it's looking like because they show up. They know their star power. You feel what I'm saying? They know their fucking power. So they come out. Everybody cheers. Everybody buys their merch. Everybody's loving Sasha and Naomi together because this is Team Bad. Like they have history together. This is fucking dope. They're fucking killing it every week. You know, they killed it in WrestleMania. They've been consistently killing it, but they keep getting booked like trash. And I think that's why they fucking walked out, because it's like, bro, you know, you're patient, but then, you know, once you peep that these people really aren't trying to listen to you, it's like, all right, bet I'll just take my talents elsewhere. But, you know, shout out to Naomi and Sasha.
What you think, Dion?
I agree with everything Father said.
Thank you, Dion.
See, can I to add to what you said? These are two women who, at one point or another, literally put the women's division in WWE on their fucking backs,
They did. That's true.
and they're fucking being mistreated. So, you know, I completely understand why they did what they did. It is what it is.
Okay. From a booking standpoint, obviously I agree with Father because we done said many a times the booking is fucking terrible, especially when they do it with some of their superstars. Not even just like filler or people that job out. Your top guys. They done had bad booking for your top guys to where at one point they're on top of the world, and then next thing you know, they're on this big ass losing streak, and it doesn't make sense. As I said this many a times, as a black man and a wrestling fan, sometimes you get the worst of it because as you can see, you there's a lot of racist shit that goes on in wrestling, and we got to hear it from people that don't watch wrestling, and then you get it from people that's just like, I don't know why y'all care so much. Wrestling ain't real, and blah 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 blah. So you just got to deal with all that and shit. But um, like Father said, these are two women that definitely help. Pave the way for the women's division, especially Sasha Banks. Naomi, I know it took a lot of people for her to get on because she was in that Divas division. And anybody remember that Divas run, even though they had some good Divas wrestlers, a lot of it wasn't taken seriously. So she was from that old guard. And, like, you know, she had to literally show people she's actually athletic and she can wrestle and she knows what she's doing. So, but once people know her, they love her. And then, people giving Naomi a chance. But I see a lot of people from Twitter that was getting on them from walking out. They was calling them unprofessional and like they should have just did the job as they was paid to do. And then, a lot of people like me bring up people like Stone Cold Steve Austin, him walking out, or some things like John Moxley, formerly known as Dean Ambrose, not liking the booking, CM Punk. Hell, even John Cena at times, they tell him all the time the bookings are trash. John Cena, he'll make shit out of Shinola, and so does The Miz. But at some point, when you're asked to do everything to do, one thing you do want is respect. So if you feel like it's not respect, especially the way wrestling is now, where you could go anywhere and still make a profitable career, you don't have
Facts.
to really take it. You can just, in the words of Stone Cold, take your ball and walk home. And the side note, I know like Stone Cold says that's one of his biggest mistake or regret. I don't think so. I always thought he was right. It's like you can't just give away Brock Lesnar versus Stone Cold on a regular SmackDown. You should have some build up for it. And like these
Right.
people don't earn it. It's their brand, it's their name. Is especially if they're still doing kayfabe in a world where kayfabe is either dead or everything gets leaked in the back. Let them at least do their job as professionally as possible. So,
So I'm gonna defend me my Sasha Banks. That's all I know. That's my baby. Don't touch her.
and I love Naomi. So, any last any last words before we move on to our next topic?
The women of WWE deserve better, and that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, everything he just said, and yeah, Sasha Banks is the best.
Okay. On to our next topic. Did y'all see the trailer for the documentary that Candace Owens was trying to
Oh,
put
I
out?
avoided that, honestly. I saw it and I'm like, I'm not watching that.
Yo, yo. I I wonder what she's gonna drop because I know a lot about this. Oh my god, she
Oh,
went
Okay,
to everyone.
okay,
I
and I'm sorry, Dion. I do want to ask this question. What do you? Because I asked this question. What? And it's the same question I asked when they dropped that Bill Cosby documentary. Um, what is this for? What are you trying to accomplish with this? What do you think she's trying to accomplish with this?
I think she might know something I do that people don't know because what we know, what majority of people know is what the news says. So
Right.
I think she has some hidden gems because she interviewed everyone because the people that she had there are not the people they put on camera. And there's what's his name, Kemp or something like that. There was a snippet of him on the news whispering to the guy to say what to say to the camera as he was talking live about complaint. Well, not complaint, but telling how he felt about what happened. Things like he didn't know what to say. It was like he was feeding him lines, and I'm like, this is what the news does. This is what these politicians do. But she went and actually talked to people that's close to him, that were close to him, and things of that nature. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to hear differently outside of what was portrayed to the masses? So I find it very interesting because I'm wondering if she's going to bring up the whole porn thing because I've been pulling that up a lot, but nobody, so I find it interesting. She shouldn't have talked to Roseanne. That's all I gotta say, because I'm sure Roseanne told her a whole bunch of shit.
I don't know how to feel
Anybody
about
else?
that shit just because it's Candace Owens of all people.
yeah, I'm not interested.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm probably gonna watch it just because I watch a lot of shit, but I do got to answer my own question. And Candace Owens aside, because yes, a lot of people got their gripes about her and all that other stuff. There's some things that when especially I'm not gonna lie to you, like when because she believes in traditional family values and all that other stuff. I do, and there's a lot of stuff she said in there that as much as I don't like her as much, I do agree with her. So it's like, she is right. I Yeah, I have to answer since I asked this question and I asked the same question with the Bill Cosby documentary. What are you going to tell us that I don't know? And I guess D
Mhm.
Wolf knows a lot of stuff, and maybe, but I don't from a casual standpoint. I wonder what she's going to tell us because if you're going to tell us the same thing that I majority know from what I've seen or read, then I don't know
Then
what
it's
you're
totally a
trying to.
money grab. It's
Yeah,
totally
that
a
is.
money grab.
Yeah, I don't want to just look at it as another money grab or just you putting out your opinions because let's be real, a lot of people don't really care for Black Lives Matter now, other than them getting on Patrice Colors and now just figuring out like she was paying giving money to her baby daddy and her brothers and basically the whole family was in there like motherfucking what was his name from America Gangster, the one Denzel played. Just
Hmm.
Was that
I don't remember
was
his
it
name, but
Frank
I know what you're
Lucas or
talking
some
about.
shit?
Frank
Yeah.
Lucas, yes, she was basically Frank Lucas, but Black Lives Matter wise and shit. But
Yeah,
but
man.
yeah, I just want to know what he's going to accomplish with this.
Because the whole thing with the daughter wasn't his daughter when they had her on like somebody's shoulder and she was saying something
It was
like,
Steven Jackson. She said, "My daddy changed the world."
yeah. So I'm like, they show that was coach too. So I wonder if she's gonna reveal that shit. I wonder if she's gonna reveal a lot of things that me and a lot of and a lot of people that don't have voices know because that she looked like she put in work on this. So
All I
because
have
that
to
was a teaser,
all I have
and
to
you
say,
know where she stands. She doesn't even like. Well, we know where she stands on the whole subject. So if like I'm trying to get into her perspective because she's less of this shouldn't happen and more of he's not a hero. So I would think that okay, she's gonna dive more into what can I find more dirt to stop this narrative altogether. We have different perspectives on looking at this because I see us as targets. This is why it happened. She doesn't see it as such. She sees it as She just sees it as a leftist agenda, basically, and I see it as more than that. But that same conclusion is looked for when it comes to what's really going on, though. So I hope that's the case, and she brings up a lot of things we don't know because. And when that part of the trailer, when she asked about that guy about the trial, and I was a sham, I was like, huh, interesting. Yeah, let's see where this goes, yo. I want to see. I gotta tune into that.
Okay, go ahead, Crystal.
All right, so all right. So as you guys know, I'm not really too much into Candace Owens, but it's better to be aware to know exactly what she's talking about. So you're just aware. So you are knowing. So if we suspect or if I suspect that she's talking bullshit and she's just riding the gravy train on her own complexion, on her own people, then I would know exactly where to pinpoint to tell the person that they're full of shit. If I don't watch the documentary, then I'm just speaking out of my ass, just like Candace Owens have done in the past. So, when we watch documentaries of people that we feel is full of shit, it's important to keep a neutral mind so you know how to broaden your outlook on what she's saying. Now, of course, we're gonna have a negative feeling about what she's saying. She's not for the black people, whatever the case is. But it is some things that she does say that I'm like, okay. But I would really want to see where this documentary uh, is coming from, just to be aware, just to be having a 360 view on any conversation that's brought up regarding this documentary. And as you know, with Black Twitter, I'm sure it's going to be brought up a lot. And we have to be careful listening to hearsay. We really have to just tap in, even though we hate to tap in. But yeah, that's really all I gotta say.
Yeah, just use discernment and like to quote Eddie Griffin in one of his specials, yo, fuck the messenger. Did you hear the message? That's how I roll.
D Wolf, I do got a question though, because
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first time she had even mentioned George Floyd, and like she was calling him a criminal and all the other stuff, and a lot of, and like in my opinion, who is besides his daughter, because I feel like his daughter's supposed to look at his father like that. Who is really calling George Floyd a hero? Because I don't think nobody's really like calling him a hero. We just thought the situation he was in was fucked up. I
No,
don't like,
that's
where did this hero shit come from?
that's one thing. This is where I had disagreed with her. Like, okay, now she's perpetuating that he's being seen as because we have his murals and things that of that nature, and plus what Joe Biden did the other day, comparing him to Martin Luther King. These types of things go on, but I haven't heard anybody say it. And like, I didn't think of him as a hero. She's saying it because I'm like, no, that's not true. I know his past, so you know. Because I know what he did before. I know his in between. The only thing heroic he did, and I can say, is when he posted a video on Twitter like years. I don't know if it was specifically Twitter, but I remember seeing it on Twitter, where he's basically telling us black men like how to behave in the streets because of where he is now, because he didn't have that growing up. So seeing how the life he led, he was like reflecting on the life he led, and he was using that as a lesson for us. I remember that, and I find that's something I'm like, well, you neglected to mention that kindness, because I know he has regret. I know he had regrets, but at the same time, I know the lifestyle he led. So she's right on that part, but I don't out before she mentioned that, I haven't heard him be thrown out there as a hero, just a victim that didn't where this did not have to go down the way it went down.
Yeah, because that's how I felt. It's like, because I remember the first time she went on that rant, like people were praising him like a hero or a martyr. I was like, no, we just thought he was in a fucked up situation. The man had a knee on his neck for like
Mm-hmm.
9 minutes, for like 9 whole minutes. The man literally suffocated on camera. We
Yeah,
thought that
fentanyl or not,
situation.
I don't care. I don't care what was in the system. I know that was concluded as he died and this and the other, but that was not the right way to fucking do it. So I don't care
Especially
what
since
people
he was
say.
handcuffed. And that's what we was
Thank
looking
you.
at. The situation was fucked up. He was handcuffed. He's already subdued. You didn't have to like keep pressure on his fucking neck.
Exactly.
So like when she did that rant, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And that's when my anger is like, what the fuck are you talking
Mhm.
about? You just
This is
that
where she's appeasing the right. This is where she goes when she is appeasing the right because that's how the right thinks. Her base basically. Like we get like well me personally I get what his past was, but do you understand that that did not have to go down that way? This is a clear case of what when cops do what they're not supposed to do or they cross the line with us especially. That's the case. So we have a say in saying like no, we got to put an end to this. You cannot put this in this case in particular with a lot of the cases that they like to perpetuate where it comes to cop on cops against blacks. This was clearly something that shouldn't have ended that way. There's plenty of cases where guys are hopped up on drugs and shit like that. It doesn't end that way. Why? You had him subdued proper. You had him cuffed proper. You had enough cops around you. You were surrounded by your partners who could easily get your back if he managed to escape some way. So that shit wasn't necessary. You could have. How long did it take? You could have just threw him in the back of the car immediately once those cuffs came on. What were you staying there for? What were you staying there for? She's not mentioning this part because she's appealing to her base, and I feel like she's trolling the left at the same time. This is the parts that I don't like about her. She could throw truth. I get the truth, but things like this, when she likes to sway and like she doesn't keep it straight as to what's going on, this is where I disagree with her. But things like, okay, now that the documentary's coming out and she's like actually investigating, like who is this person? Why is the news doing this? Because the news is another group of people that like to perpetuate him like as an all-out hero, especially today. But yeah, you're right. Like I don't remember, like people didn't actually come out and say that. People were just straight up saying like this is not how it should have been done. The hero thing didn't come out until after she started saying that, really. Because that whole Biden thing was recent. The murals came out after that. She mentioned that. So, yeah, she's appealing to her base. That's her money, and she can't lose it.
any last words before we move on to our next topic?
Nope.
All right. On to the next topic, which I guess we're around the same. How do y'all feel about the shit that's been going around in the Buffalo shooting? That whole mass shooting in Buffalo.
Oh
How y'all feel
no.
about that?
Oh Lord, no,
I stayed away from it. I didn't even know about it until
bro.
until you dropped the list.
I
I
think
stayed
it's
away.
just the fact that it was live streamed is really what scares me. I don't know about y'all, but that shit was like streamed on Twitch.
For real?
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yo,
That's
My
insane.
father was trying to show me the video, and I literally was
I
like,
didn't watch that.
I don't want to watch it. I don't want to
Mm-mm.
watch him
like,
shoot.
I don't like
yo,
carnage. I don't like innocent people getting killed. I don't want to see that shit live. I don't want to see that. Mm-mm. That's why I stayed away. I don't, because at this point I'm like, here's another one. Okay, I'm done. I don't. I this is one I stayed away from. But when you put it on the list, I checked it out. I was like, oh, yeah, this is another. They're gonna use like we know what the news is gonna use this for. It's
Gun
just gonna
laws.
cause a further divide. But nobody's paying attention to the fact that these motherfucking FBI know who these people are before it happens.
I was going more or less gun safety and gun laws,
Mm-hmm. There too. Yeah.
and also it being racially motivated because he
Yeah.
literally picked the spot where he knew that
Mm-hmm.
like he can get away with it or at least do what he could do before he got caught. So
by the way, he's still breathing. He's
he
still
is
alive,
still breathing.
which is
He's
very
still breathing.
interesting to me.
In which I like whether you agree with it or not. This is what we've been saying. It's just like someone that's been unarmed, like a George Floyd, loses his life, or and someone that's literally like a Dylan Roof, and I don't even know his name, but the Buffalo shooter, who is literally like going around doing mass murders, and then like other people that's done this, you know, they get subdued and they're getting walked away, and nothing's happened to them. Where people like George Floyd or even like Sean Bell, motherfucker get 20. He gets shots like 26, like a lot. I was gonna say 20. What I heard is like 40 or some shit like that. But I have to look at it again. But he gets shot multiple times, and this is what always talk about when how the police subdued some people.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, this is very tragic. You know what I mean? Like the fact that you said that it was meticulously planned. He planned to go in there because of the location, because of the demographic that's in that location. Like that is terrifying. Like, and the fact that this is the legacy that is still continuing is like, bruh, if this is not the wake up call, I don't know what is. If you ask me,
Yo, we need to arm up, straight up. We
This
need
is
to
why.
arm up.
So
like
Fuck.
yeah,
this is interesting. So as you guys know, I'm from New York, so you already know this hit me hard. I did call my family members and make sure everybody's okay when it did happen. But he's a fucking coward. If you've noticed, the people that resting in peace, God bless their heart, they're all elderly. So Buffalo, New York, that area is kind of like upstate New York. It's not the main city. And I find it interesting that we had a what you call those people that follow other people? A person who wanted to mimic what this guy did in Brooklyn. So he decided to go in Brooklyn, right? With a fucking needle and try to stab people with this needle. Not just any person, black. And he got knocked the fuck out. Now, to protect this man, I saw about 20 fucking cops out there. And the moral of the story is these motherfuckers who like to go into these communities, these suburban communities that just so happen to be elderly black people, yeah, they're going to keep trying to target that area. Okay? The younger generation, I don't see anyone going up in the Carnarvon. I don't see anyone going on Flatbush and doing that foolishness. So we have to ask ourselves, it's not so much that they are targeting black people, they're trying to target what they think is weak, who they think is weak. So if you ask me, as young people, we need to get our money up and go into suburban areas, go into upstate New York's to make sure that it's a less likelihood that they pull that bullshit.
This is why I couldn't be a cop, yo. I'm that cop that would have took him and drove him in the hood where everybody knows what he just did and just dropped him off. I'd be that cop.
I'd have offed it
Because I
myself.
want the community to handle it. That's how I am. I'm not no because he's just gonna end up in jail and be protected by the white brotherhood. So I'm like, nah, I'll drop him. Fuck off, yo. Straight up, let the community handle him. Oh my god, son.
Yeah, because he was one of those dudes that I guess it was based on white genocide. So it's like he not only just was premeditated, like he was one of those people that he thought that I guess white people were dying some shit like. And I'm looking for the quote because it was just one of those things where like it proves the whole thing about people that thought this way, and he's only 18. It's not like like some
I told
30
you.
year old dude. He's only 18, and
I
he was
told you
thinking
the
like this.
numbers are going down, yo. They don't like that. I told you. The numbers are down. That's why they want this fucking immigration shit going. Their numbers are dwindling, the white population.
Yeah,
That's
and
So
why.
like
That's why.
man, it's hitting them hard. It's hitting the supremacists hard. But
That's
what
why
where
they're
are you
on this
supreme?
bullshit with
Where are you supreme now?
Roe versus Wade.
Mm-hmm.
Which wasn't that supposed to be a topic of discussion last week, and we never got to it.
we got to it.
Oh my God.
Ah,
We fell asleep. Dion, I think
oh yeah.
we got we
Work's been
did.
kicking my ass. I'm sorry.
It was like I don't know a week or 2 weeks ago because I remember we got to you in the final word. I think you was just gone.
Yeah, Yeah, works for kicking my ass.
Okay.
I just
Go
want to
ahead, Xavier.
know, like I listen to these kind of like topics a lot, and I know that my opinions are always very different from many people because I look at everything from each angle, from each level, and each height. And a lot of people always say, they protect the white people, these mass shooters, but they don't protect, but yet they be killing unarmed black people. But yet it's like there is truth to that, but at the same time, it's not like it's the same cops. So, because sometimes I always say to myself, that cop was the ignorant cop that so happened to do it. But then the ones who may not have done something like that were the ones who had to actually apprehend a white person. So it's like, what are really the statistics on that people really like rely on? Because sometimes I feel like people say that knowing damn well that there are plenty of black people who shoot up places, who shoot up, their own neighborhood and shit, and they come out alive and they get their little shit, roughed up and they go to jail. But it's like, I'm like, are we only saying this because it's in the media, or because it gained a lot of popularity and people are paying attention to that one particular thing? Because we know for a fact that it's not like every black person that gets stopped from a police officer is getting killed.
Yeah, I've been
And
stopped plenty of times.
sometimes I always wonder, when these kind of conversations happen, why do people make those statements? Because it's like, a lot of times you don't want to kill the person unless they're shooting at you as the cop, and you're not supposed to unless they're doing something, so you want to apprehend them so they can face the law and get the death penalty or get whatever. But what I will definitely agree are the consequences of once they go to jail and the type of stuff they slap them on. They slap on to their record. But a lot of people, don't really understand law, and they don't understand like second, first, and third degree murder, or they don't understand certain things. And I need a lot of people to stop acting like they do, because no one in here, no one that works at Target, like no one. Well, when I say no one, but majority does not study law, and they're not sitting up all night reading on every single thing that somebody could be, uh, that someone can be slapped with in the courtroom and after the judgment, because people have to understand what second degree murder is, or what third degree murder is, or what first degree murder is. And you have to understand why they chose certain things. And some people just react over emotion, but they're not really thinking logically. And it's like, you have to really understand it. So
Keep in mind, this is how they do. Because I said this before, when they report these things, when it's a black person, they don't mention the race at all until they're arrested and have no choice. So they have us emotionally charged, because when it's a white person, that's the first thing you hear: a white man entered this, that, and the other. But if it's any other of color outside of white, they never mention the race until that person's apprehended, or this, that, and the other. That's how they do it. So they have us thinking a certain way from the jump, from the report, that first report. That's how it goes. And then we just run with it from there. They do this shit on purpose. So our minds, they don't allow us to have our minds on, okay, do we seek justice, or does this motherfucker deserve this right now? Because all we hear is we're always hearing white domestic terrorists, this, that, and the other. I'm like, how often does this really happen? But when you look at the statistics, and you see all the faces of like for the past 2 years of the amount of people that's been perpetuating these catastrophes. It's a mixed bag, and it's hardly any white faces there. But if you go to each story of each face there, you'll realize from the jump their color is never mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
not till later. So that's what gives these keyboard warriors, the ammo to say, "Oh, look what this white terrorist did this, that, and the other." This is what makes us so iffy about getting guns and shit as black men to protect our own.
Yeah, because
Because
I used to tell people, I said there's a lot of black people who do a lot of domestic stuff, but we just don't really hear about it. It kind of gets swept under.
mhm.
Like there's a lot of shootings that black people have done in public, but it doesn't. I don't know why it just doesn't get as much, coverage, especially from different states, unless it was in like I feel like unless it was like in a populous state almost.
I
Because I
can
was
answer that.
The news won't report anything good. There are plenty of black men who apprehended their own, dealt with shit on their own, called the cops, nothing happened. You know, they call the cops with the gun still drawn, pointing at the perpetrator. The cop comes up, says, "Okay, put it down. We're here." And then they take the report, like, "Okay, go ahead. We got this." We're not hearing this. This happens a lot, but we don't hear this. We only
Mhm.
hear when the cop does something bad. It's all about
It's a
perspective,
simple
and the
answer to
news is
that.
very good at that.
Simple answer to that.
And what's the
Mhm.
answer?
If it's a black person doing something to another black person, they're not gonna give a fuck.
Oh no, this be happening. It be black people shooting other white people, like on the train. It was something that happened in California, but it just didn't get as popular. Like it happened, and it barely stayed on the
And
news.
then, but the other part of that is it's a black person performing an actual act of heroism, actually doing something good.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like
Not
that.
gonna hear about it. Nope. Nope. Because they don't want us
Uh,
having the guns. They don't want us
I,
protecting ourselves. They want us to call white daddy. So,
Okay. So
okay, I'm gonna speak for myself on this one. Okay, as far as let's say a black criminal who's actually doing the shootings and the cops, either shoot to kill or at least shoot to subdue. I don't have a problem with that because he broke the law. And he got subdued or he got the justice that was given to him. That's that's okay because like I said, he broke the law. It's when you see some of these videos that especially been coming out where you seeing the cops being extra aggressive to black people. I done seen many videos where white people literally fight the cops and they don't even pull out a taser. I've seen one video
They-
where a
They're straight
dude
throwing
literally
hands
had a
with the
knife and
cops.
was trying to swing at him. The cops didn't pull out a gun nor a taser, and matter of fact, he was running from him. I've seen videos where black people damn near barely raise their voice, and a cop, acts like he's fear for his life. The video,
Fidel Castile.
one of the videos that really made me angry, Eric Garner, because a lot of people say he was selling cigarettes, when in actuality he was breaking up a fight, and the cops were just fucking with him. Those are the videos that people are really getting mad at people with injustice. The things with George Floyd, sure, he was a criminal. He probably did something. I don't know. Even with the counterfeit thing, you subdued him. You didn't have to keep your knees on his neck for 9 minutes, where he was
Yo,
suffocating and he was telling you, "I can't breathe." The same thing with Eric Garner. I can't breathe with Philando Castile. And I know the cop wasn't white; he was Asian or something like that.
now he's
He
Spanish.
literally told the cops, and what he was supposed to do. I have a gun in
Eddie
my
Vedder.
person, and
Jumping.
I have a gun license. He
Mm-hmm.
was reaching for his wallet and he
Quota
got
hire.
shot the fuck up. There was
100%.
another video where there was a private eye. He was doing his job, and a cop walked up to him, and he was like, "Please take your gun off your holster. I'm not armed, or I'm not posing a threat." And the cop came up, and I know that cop wasn't white either, but the motherfucker pulled the gun out on his face anyway. It was like, dude, what the fuck? And it's like, can you please get your supervisor? And the supervisor had to come in, and he stuck the gun to the private investigator's face. Those are the videos that we are talking about. With
Hmm.
same thing with Tatiana Jefferson, where she's just minding her business, playing the game with a nephew. They bust in and they shoot things. Um, and look, like those are the videos we're talking about. Not just those are the videos that make people angry, where we're not doing anything, where we're not posing a threat, where we're not where either where we're subdued to a point where not pose a threat or we can't fight back where it seems like we're getting killed where people pulling out their guns instead of the tasers and like,
Mm.
oh, I thought it was a taser. I didn't know it was a gun. When everybody knows the gun is on your dominant hand and the taser is on your non-dominant hand. So, and someone that's done security on a boat, I know that because the gun was on my dominant hand, which was my right hand. Those are the videos that black people are mostly getting mad at, where we're either subdued to a point where we can't pose a threat, or we're not even posing a threat at all. We're asking you to, you're going to arrest us on what grounds? And we literally tell you, we're literally following along when we say on what grounds am I being arrested? Am I being detained? Or I forgot the uh the skinny black dude that that was just minding his business. He had a hoodie, not Trayvon, but the other motherfucker that he was just a regular nice guy, just skinny dude, and all of a sudden the two cops was talking about how like they couldn't put him down, so they had to shoot him.
Hmm.
Those are the videos that people are getting angry about, and those are the videos we're seeing. It's not that it's just to make it look sexy. We understand if a person does
But
something
you can't
bad.
be, you can't talk for everybody because
No, that's
half the
why I said
time,
that's
half
no,
the
no, no.
time
That's
it
why
be
I said
different videos that people be getting upset about small stuff that the story doesn't even go that way, especially with that Tatiana Jefferson video of her. They keep talking about she was sitting there playing a video game with her nephew. She was not sitting down with her nephew when she got shot.
did she have a gun?
No, but
That's what I'm
last there
saying.
was a
That's no, no,
video.
no, no, no.
You have to
And,
watch the. Did you watch the surveillance video
that, that
from the cops camera?
that's not my point. She didn't have a gun. She didn't pose a threat. There's nothing in there that poses a threat.
Because
That's what would
I from last I checked, they said that she was charging.
No, she
with what?
wasn't.
This reminds me of the whole thing with that chick that was when those two girls were in a fight and one of them brought out the knife and
And
the
that's
cop had
and
to
that's
pull her
another
down.
one.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah, that's another one. Go ahead, Ray.
But that's what I'm saying. She didn't have a gun. What was she charging for? Why would like what person in the right mind would charge at a cop without a gun?
But
Unless you
y'all
are missing.
also said that y'all didn't watch that video, so y'all don't know what I'm talking about.
But she didn't have a gun. But that's
So
what I'm saying. I would
was this?
understand if she had a gun, because the chick from Baltimore that lost her life because she fucking and this the one I tell and I forgot her name, but she was light skinned and she had a fucking shotgun and she had a kid with her, and a lot of people try to defend her. When I said no, she had a fucking shotgun. She also had a kid in danger. She kind of got what she got.
Corin Gaines.
Yes, thank you. Corin Gaines. I've always told people Corin Gaines, that was Corin Gaines' fault. But as far as like the other videos where they don't pose a threat, they don't have a gun, you can obviously see they don't have a gun. uh them the videos we're talking about. And I did say I'm speaking for myself. I wasn't speaking for everybody. I'm speaking for myself. When you see people, when I'm seeing our people getting killed when we're not posing a threat, going against white people who I've seen literally swing on cops and literally like tries to kill a cop and they get tasered or like barely even subdued. That's the problem we're having. It's not the fact that you're doing the crime. It's just that we're not doing the crime or what was said.
I would
I
say
had the
it's
thing wrong. It was not a Tatiana Jefferson I was thinking about. It was the other girl,
The one with the knife.
the brown skin girl.
I would
Oh,
say it's
Shanika
about
Bryant. You talk about Shanika Bryant.
No, it
What
was her
brown skin girl?
boyfriend. They came in, they bust in for her boyfriend, but she was caught in the crossfire.
the one they keep talking about now.
Breonna, is it Breonna Taylor?
Breonna
Yes,
Taylor. Breonna
yes,
Taylor.
yes.
Breonna
Yeah, I
Taylor.
got shot in the
So
sleep
I
and
would
shit.
my whole thing is okay, because I've seen the same thing that happened to us happen to them, really. And it's all about perspective and what they like to show. But my whole thing is, my whole problem with this is this blue brotherhood thing where I understand, okay, this is your livelihood. You want to keep your job. You have a brotherhood. You can't, you're scared to tell on whatever cop is doing this, that, and the other. That needs to go away. That shit needs to go away because these people need to be held accountable. I don't care how good you are at your job, but this is your mindset. The good cop that the right or in certain circumstances where the cop would do something right, that cop needs to start speaking out because there are too many cases where they use this excuse as, oh, we're just doing our job. We just have to do our job. Like, no. This, you have morals. You do not have to do this. You know how many times I've been pulled over so many times. And it's because of this type of officer I've had to deal with. I've had bad cops and good cops. The good cops now, I'm like, you need these cops that have pulled me over and said, go. These cops need to start opening their mouths against the dirty cops that are here. They never say what they have to say, and that's the problem. This brotherhood shit needs to end because they're not helping anyone because they have their mouths shut. So now they're letting the crooked cops now, the racist cops now have free reign. Then they want to say something afterwards.
But the
Nobody
problem with
in
what
house when they
the
should.
problem with what you just
When
said,
it comes to fucking truth, yo, when it comes to fucking truth, I don't care, yo. It has to be said because really and truly, me keeping the truth silent is costing lives. And what's your job as a cop? To save lives, right? That's what you sign up for, supposedly. So understand you're the good guy in this situation, but your silence ain't helping. Your silence is compliance. Your silence is causing this shit. And they will stay there in the station and watch this and talk about them, and they won't do anything. And then when these things go down, now we have the news and everything perpetuated in a certain way to have us in this whole division where it could start from in-house. They have the power. This is why I never let this whole thing about, I have a family to feed, and like really and truly, you took this job, yo. You could die and you won't have a family to feed. So let's stop this shit and open your fucking mouths because you ain't helping.
now hold on. See, D Wolf, one problem with what you just said, you had the good cops that do try to step up and speak out against the bullshit. You got a lot of them who face, backlash and retaliation, whatever from the department and shit when they do try to speak up and stop XYZ from happening.
Well, look, don't we have
And that's very
I've seen
true.
plenty. You know what's funny? It's funny how there are cops that we have the technology today. So today there's no excuse. We have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have all this, yo. State your shit. Say what you got to say. Make that shit go viral. Get your fan base, whatever you have to do, and say what you have to say. So if there's any repercussions against you for doing the right thing, people got your back. Your neighborhood knows you. Usually cops usually patrol the neighborhood they're in. People know them. But outside of that, they don't. There's no excuse today, yo. We need to really.
It doesn't matter if they have the social
stepping
media
up,
because
yo.
it's still going to happen. It's
What's
still
going
going
to
to
happen?
happen.
Sorry.
Whether they
all
do
that don't
all
mean
this social
nothing
media stuff,
when
it's still going to happen. They're still going to get released without pay, or they're not going to get their pension, or they might go somewhere and get their ass beat the fuck up by some other cops.
Yeah,
Yo, that's what GoFundMe's for. You know how many cops said some shit online, didn't do anything? It was just about free speech alone. They just said some shit and they lost their shit. And a whole bunch of GoFundMe them fed their family for a while.
Well,
like, yo, if that's what it takes, like me and really and true, these are one of the reasons why I didn't even fucking become a cop. Because I opened my mind and I said, yo, I can't do this shit, yo. Because I know this will happen.
It's moments. Look, it's shit that goes beyond money when it comes to this shit. We're talking about like
these are
this
lives,
motherfuckers who
yo.
get actual like death threats and some more shit
I get it.
You know, oh,
I get
for
it. But I'm not that.
speaking
I'm
up
not
and
that
saying
person,
XYZ
yo.
against
Truth
so and so.
matters. Truth matters, and the people I protect, the people who I sign up for the job for, matter more to me. So I'm gonna say what I have to fucking say. This is why I did not bother, because when I was a kid, I dreamed about being a cop, yo, straight up. But when I saw what was going down, I'm like, yo, if I do this, I'm too much of a cowboy. I'm not gonna listen to fuckery. And if a criminal does something, yo, I'm that cop that will fucking kill you. I'm that cop
That's why they
that will
outlaw
yo, I'm
vigilantism.
not that's why I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. And if I see a fucking crooked cop, I'm gonna let it be known. I said, yo, I want to live. I don't have to deal with this shit right now. Like, I have that choice right now. I didn't bother doing it. So you know what? When it came to being a film major, I said, I'll write about them instead. You know, at least I'll fulfill that part of it. Because because that's how I am, yo. It does, like, I cannot sign up for this job and not do what I sign up for because some fuckers in my crew are doing some fuckery and I'm too scared to do it. No, yo, you're the
But
criminal that we're arresting, son.
But you
You're
know
the
what?
fucking
It's
racist.
so easy to say what you will do until you're in that predicament. Because there's so many
Right.
people that say, I will do this. And I'm not saying that you're a punk or
Mhm.
that you're not about it. But until